Hello and welcome to the 194th episode of the Game Out Loud podcast, your one and only podcast for all things gaming. I am your host that I used to say this week.
Or whatever.
I slipped back in. It's been a little while. I'm the guy who makes all this stuff pretty, I guess. Rob makes the pretty stuff. I make it happen. And I guess that means I get to say hi every time. So hi, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. We are live on YouTube. We do that pretty much every Monday, roughly between 4 and 6 Pacific Standard Time. So if you want to come in and check that out, we will put those links up on our Twitter, so keep posted there. This week, we are getting ready to take a look at Deus Ex as a whole. Mankind Divided comes out tonight, or technically tomorrow, but because, you know, I'm not going to bed before that, it's still tonight. So I'm looking forward to that. We're going to take a look at how it's affected us throughout our gaming, what kind of has come from that series, and maybe some of them weren't so good. Maybe some of them were fantastic. Well, we'll have to go back and find out. But joining this week, a man that I didn't even know enjoyed this series. In fact, when he asked me what we were talking about, I just said we might bring up Mankind Divided. And he said, "Oh, I've played all the others." That is Rob Peterson. How you do? I'm kidding. Kevin Kirk. Kevin Kirk is the man who did this to me. So you were a big Deus Ex fan.
Yeah, I started playing Invisible War was the first one I played, and it was an okay game, but when I told my friend I had started playing it, he very quickly reminded me that, no, you need to go back and play the first one, and instantly fell in love with the series.
Yeah, that's a good friend. That's a keeper.
Yeah, definitely. That would be like, I don't know. Like, I feel like that would almost be like someone playing the new Thief and then thinking that was the Thief franchise, and then someone else who knew better, who was like, no, this has a long and storied history. It's a fantastic series, and this is not a very good instance in it, but you go ahead and believe that, buddy. Whatever you want. Like,
honestly, if you can't play the old Thieves, just get Dishonored. You're getting pretty much the same game.
Oh, and that comes out soon too. November 11th, right? Is that what's coming out?
That's about right.
Oh God, I can't wait for that. It's going to be so amazing. Now, Rob, you are here this week. Awesome. Thank you.
I am indeed.
And thank you again to you, Kevin, for coming on in such short notice. We know, have a long and storied history with Deus Ex, but we're going to go ahead and save that till later. Let's go ahead and get into what we've been playing. And Rob, wait, I'm reading what's this chat? Skip me for what we've been playing. Oh, sorry, Rob, I didn't see that. Kevin, what have you been playing, my friend?
Been playing a lot of Overwatch lately.
We haven't talked to you about that yet. You haven't been on the show in quite a while. Was that an instant hit for you? Like, what is your build up to that?
I actually had zero interest in that game, going up to about a week and a half before its release. I had completely signed on to Battleborn as the kind of console MOBA. I'm not a huge MOBA guy, but I loved not all of. I loved the Borderlands series, and 2K seemed to be trying to bring that same humor and gameplay into Battleborn. But then Overwatch got announced for console. I ended up watching one of the Overwatch shorts and instantly fell in love with the series.
Understandable. Those are very well done shorts, and if you listeners and viewers haven't seen it, go check them out on YouTube. Not right now. Keep watching this, but after this, go see it, because Kevin showed me these. I didn't know they existed. They are fantastic, and you've seen Bastion, right?
Oh yeah, I've seen multiple times. It's actually, I think that's my second favorite one. Very emotional. They all really have like a Pixar-esque quality to them. But yeah, they're fantastic. It made me want to know more about these characters, more about the game itself, more about the world that they inhabit. I'm a little upset that we don't have more of that outside of like the 8-page comics they've been coming out with. But yeah, I started playing the game, instantly fell in love with it as like the premier team-based FPS. I know Team Fortress is pretty much the same game. That was the precursor, but I never really got into Team Fortress.
Neither did I.
This was my kind of gateway into it, and yeah, it's one of my favorite games.
It kind of feels like Valve's fuck you, or Blizzard's fuck you to Valve for stealing Dota from them.
A little bit.
It's like, oh yeah, well, we're going to you make Dota 2, we'll make TF3. How's that sound, Valve?
Well, I mean, that's the only way we were ever going to get a TF3, so.
Yeah, no kidding.
I,
But,
I didn't have any knowledge of that game before I really got it. I didn't pay attention much to anything about it. In fact, I've got most of my lore from you on that front. So, Rob, you've seen those shorts, haven't you?
I haven't. No.
Well, yeah. Why would you? You have a ban on Blizzard.
Well, yeah, and I also just beyond getting pissed off at them and just kind of, and also just kind of never clicking with any of their games. Blizzard exists in like its own hype sphere outside of the regular gaming press. Like I know StarCraft 2 and the expansions sold a shit ton, but when those come out, I don't. Well, when the actual game came out, I heard a lot about it. But like when there's a StarCraft 2 expansion, I don't hear that much about it. I might see an article or two.
Mm-hmm.
It just seems like the circles I frequent with gaming aren't very Blizzardy. It's that's like its own thing. Same with MOBAs too. MOBAs are obviously by far the most popular type of PC game right now, and I almost never hear about them. So
I'm not a MOBA guy either. I've tried to play several. I tried playing League of Legends. I tried playing Dota 2. I've had Dota 2 for years. But every time I get into those games, it's like you take the most caustic environment, like video games, and then you add that these are made for like prepubescent, like angry children, and then it's caustic as all get out. I'm like, I don't need that. Like, I understand when one team is making fun of you and going at you, but when your own team is like going at you, that's another story. Like, nah, I'm good.
yeah, I'm with you on that. I like my single player games and I like my co-op games. don't, I don't need, and yeah, you could argue MOAB's kind of co-op, but it's super competitive too.
Yeah. Now, is Overwatch considered a MOBA, or is it a first-person shooter with MOBA elements?
it's a first-person shooter with MOBA elements. That was what really turned me off to the game when it was first announced. Was, oh yeah, this is Blizzard's MOBA. I had zero interest in it just because I'm not a MOBA guy. They just don't click with me. They're not the game for me. I've tried quite a few of them, and every one of them has fell by the wayside. Um, but yeah, actually playing the game, like there are certain MOBA elements that you can see to it, but nothing that overly stands out as this is a MOBA. Like it is a first-person shooter, team-based shooter first that has very light MOBA elements from time to time.
Okay, yeah, because I don't really know what defines a MOBA other than a massive online battle arena. Like, which seems to me like if you took that into consideration, just those words, Quake was a MOBA.
Yeah, that was named by the same idiot that called it an RPG.
Yeah.
It's a role playing game. Yeah, that tells you everything you need to
Yeah,
know.
in every
Thanks.
game you play a role. They're all RPGs. Oh man, but yeah, so you've been playing a lot of Overwatch. Anything else been getting you? Anything
Yeah,
else like maybe something like that you could play forever and never get anywhere?
better?
Yeah, that one.
No, No Man's Sky. Yeah, I've been playing No Man's Sky pretty much since the day it came out. Um, and yeah, for all of the problems that a lot of people have been having, I've been having a blast with it. It's just a nice way to, especially after like a long day, you just sit down, veg, find new planets, explore them. It's basically just Star Trek without the Federation, man. You're finding vast new worlds and scanning the hell out of them.
Find new
Finally got,
life and new civilizations
yeah,
to
finally
boldly
got my
go
Atlas pass.
where
So that was
Kevin has gone before.
yeah, that was my mission in life. So I now can open all of the rooms on every planet that tell me I need an Atlas pass.
Well, no. Do you have the Atlas Pass V3?
V1.
Oh, so now you need now you need to go get the V2.
The V2, which apparently is a random chance encounter, and V3, which I've yet to actually see somebody have proof that they have the V3.
Really?
Yeah.
Maybe that's what you get at the center of the galaxy. They're like, congratulations. Congratulations. You have made it to the center of the galaxy. Here's your V3 pass.
I know what you get at the center of the galaxy, and I'm not going to say, of
I was
course.
just say you will tell me
Um,
nothing.
But I wouldn't necessarily hold your breath on that one.
They're like, it's a fractal. You get to the center of a galaxy, and they're like, we're going to shrink you down. And then there's another galaxy.
Now you can explore the microverse.
Yes, and it looks insanely like the Macroverse. Oh man, No Man's Sky. I we talked about it a lot last week, but I've had a lot more time to sit and stew on it, and I think it's still a good thing. I think it's a good thing to have released. Um, I don't agree with their price point with what they put out. $60 seems a little steep. I know you were raising that sentiment earlier this week, Rob. When we were talking for a minute. Was that you I was talking about?
I think we all agreed on that. Yeah, it's a $60 early access game essentially. It's half a game, and it's cool. It's a cool piece of technology, but so much stuff that was supposed to be in that game was shit canned without and with no mention of it. And I have to assume that they're just plugging away, trying to re-implement a lot of those features so they don't keep their fan base pissed off. So I think it's going to have the same shelf life as an early access game where you bought it and now for the next 3 years it's going to transform into something totally different and hopefully something awesome. But I'm with you. Like, I don't hate the game at all. I feel like it's kind of half baked for $60.
Yeah,
Yep.
well, I don't know what you guys like. What was actually brought up in that one? I know Sony is actually having their return policy scrutinized at this point in time because a lot of people are feeling slighted by No Man's Sky to the point where they have asked for full refunds for the game. And on Steam, any other outlet, if you want to throw a refund on the game, you can get it, no questions asked. With Steam's, what is it, 14-day policy?
Yeah, 14 days, 2 hours.
2 hours, yeah. Well, with Sony's policy on the PS4,
There is none. There's
oh
no
no,
returns.
you can get your free refund, but you will never be allowed to play No Man's Sky ever again. It locks once it takes away the license. It puts a ban on that license from your console. You cannot buy a digital copy or a physical copy again.
Colin Cooper, ladies and gentlemen, from this podcast, got a refund on No Man's Sky.
After
And
playing it for like 8 hours, right?
yeah, he was pissed. But that's the thing with this game. It takes you 8, 10, 12 hours to realize what it's
Yeah.
missing. So I don't think that's beyond the pale. Normally, yeah, if you played 8 hours of a Call of Duty campaign and wanted your money back, like, screw you, buddy. But in this case, yeah, I think that's actually pretty fair.
Yeah, well, you could argue that it's 0.00000000000000001% of the game based on their advertising. So, like, I'll give you that amount of zeros.
Yeah, he only played 8 quintillionths of it.
Yeah,
So
exactly. So, yeah, money back guarantee, no problem. I'm gonna I buckled down and I'm going to keep my copy because I want to see what happens in that game for the long haul. In fact, we've already started to see mods start to pop up for it, which is where I think the potential for a lot of good game content comes from. Because if you look at games on PC, one of the cool things you have is that mod community. Kerbal Space Program has a very, very large one, and that was in early access, and they've had a lot of work done on that with their community. And one thing I really look forward to seeing what people can come up with for this game because they have a big open world to deal with. It's just stuff that we need to have worked on. And there's way more of a chance of this getting worked on by a community because of the fact that it sold so many copies, right? Like if it had been like a closet hit or a closet sleeper and then like everyone's like, "Oh, I don't know," but the people who loved it were like, "Oh, this is great, but this is what we're going to have." That'd be one thing, but this sold how many copies to how many people? I'm sure that there's going to be at least a decent modding community around that thing.
yeah, I would hope so. But I don't know. I mean, the amount of stuff you can mod in No Man's Sky is going to be pretty limited, I think, just because of the way the
Servers,
the
shit.
procedural generation and all the server crap works. Yeah. First thing they should do is fix the interface on the PC. Yeah, it is a straight up console interface. And for a game that's supposed to be relaxing, playing, just trying to play it on the PC makes my blood boil. Because it's like,
What would you
click,
fix?
hold.
Oh, they
all
fixed
kinds
that.
of
There's a
stuff.
mod for that.
Okay.
You can instant click. Yep, that's there.
But I shouldn't have to download a mod
I
to,
agree.
to have an interface that works correctly. And I'm looking at you too, Bethesda.
Right? Well, don't you like the Destiny interface on your PC? Doesn't that
Yeah, it's perfect. It's what I always dreamed of. It wasn't shitty enough on the PS4 with Destiny. They had to to try to shoehorn it onto a keyboard and mouse control scheme and make it even worse.
Yeah, that game has a lot of potential. I'm still excited for it, but I am definitely I'm not drawn to play it right now. Like I put what I put 14 hours into that game, I think. No Man's Sky. What's that start with? An N? And
Podcast.
No Man's Sky. Bada bing. I have put 9 hours, not 14. 9 hours in. And at this point, I feel like I've seen a lot of what I'm going to see. I want to know why they have like only one race um, in on a planet at once, and there's only like one person per outpost. Like, what are they doing there? I guess maybe if I play long enough, I'll learn that. Kevin, have you learned that kind of stuff? Like, what's all going on with that?
I've gotten a little bit into that. Nothing that I really can get into with listeners that may or may not want that to be spoiled for them.
Okay, no problem. As long as there is some progression in that, like I learned something.
Like I don't know if it is a spoiler. Like I don't know the implications of like I said, when I got my Atlas pass, every time you talk to everybody, you learn a little bit more about like what's going on. But I can barely understand anything anyone's saying. So
Hmm.
uh, the bits and pieces I did pick up were uh, somewhat informative, but I need to learn more words in order to figure out what's going on.
Hmm.
So.
I gotcha. Well, No Man's Sky will, of course, probably be talking about it for a while to come if things happen. But other than that, anything else been taking up your time?
Comics, video games. Street Fighter is always one of my time sinks. Always trying to get better at that. Finally, put the nail in the coffin on Pokemon Go for the time being.
Really? Yeah, you were a big proponent of that too. You were getting groups together. We worked together, so you were getting groups together from our job and going on Pokemon hunts and barbecues and stuff like that. What happened?
There's just no content outside of what we already have that is left to be explored. A big problem was, of course, the when they took down the Pokemon tracker, the initial tracker that it had, it became less of an adventure and more of a chore to find Pokemon. There was a group of Pokemon that were somewhere in your area. You might be close to them, you might not be. Uh, they refresh every 15 minutes. Good luck trying to find the one you're looking for. Um, that was just really, disheartening. It really made it a chore to play the game. And for that game, like that is the main function of it, to find Pokemon. When you cannot reliably find Pokemon, you have a problem with your game. Um, Now they've since implemented what they call sightings, where it brings up a smaller group of Pokemon that are in a tighter area around you. That, yeah, these ones are somewhere in your area. It's a little easier, but they had a really good thing with the first system. I don't know if that's what was causing all of the server issues, and that's why they had to take it down. I know they had a big problem with third-party trackers pop up sometime after that, but I mean, honestly, with third-party trackers, like they were in place in a point in time where people couldn't reliably track Pokemon, so I don't really see the what they're going for with this new tracking system. It just is not as intuitive as the first system they had, and
Gotcha.
it really is puts a strain on wanting to go out and play that game.
Okay. Well, hopefully they get that updated. And I mean, I had a lot of high hopes for that, like battling your friends, like doing stuff like that. Like even that's not very engaging in that game. So,
Oh, there is no battling your friends at this point in time.
pardon me.
You can do gym battles, but outside of that, there's no trainer battles, no trading, which is all things that they're going to implement eventually. But realistically, like this is just a large scale open beta for this game. I don't think it was anywhere near release, but I know they released it in, I think it was like Australia or something, as I guess it was a test, but so many people were pirating the APK, trying to get that on the North American side, that they just released it early. This is all my opinion, hearsay, but yeah, it really feels like this game was not completely finished. They kind of rushed it out.
That seems to be the thing of the day, isn't it? Like, well, or maybe just the generation. It seems to be that more and more we are having these games that everyone's excited about. They're really good at getting the hype train up for, but maybe should stay in production a little longer. And I don't know, day one patches that are like 4 or 5 gigs. That's not a day one patch. That's our game's not done, but
Yeah,
we need to
well,
meet deadlines
you know, Square Enix apparently can't be held to that standard now because they just pushed Final Fantasy 15 back another 2 months.
to put that on the disc, right?
Yep.
Fantastic, good job, good for them. Well,
And they delayed Mankind Divided as well. And by all accounts, that doesn't seem broken.
Yeah, I
Seems
mean, it's been getting really good reviews, so
yeah,
hopefully that's good. I'm just a little more upset on the Final Fantasy front after the hour-long press conference they had stating, "Yeah, game's done. It's ready to ship and here's the release date." Cool. All right. Then you start hearing rumors of, "Hey, they might be doing a season pass with more content." All right. Already paying $60 for a game. Season passes are just the thing to do now, I guess, though. Um, then yeah, it's totally a thing. And now the game's getting pushed back 2 months. I can't say it's definitely to get the patch all the way on there. Like the DLC may have something to do with it, but if it means a more completed game, yeah, I'm perfectly fine with it. Just a little upset that the 10-year wait is longer over a patch. But
my wife actually bought that game. She's a Final Fantasy fan. She bought that one and then Final Fantasy Worlds. Is that something?
Worlds of Final Fantasy, yeah.
Yeah, she bought the Uber Collector's Edition of that one that came with all the little collectibles, like $150 or something.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we bought it on the exact same day.
Oh, gotcha. Nice. That's awesome. I've never been a huge Final Fantasy fan. I liked seven, like everybody else, like every other Final Fantasy poser. But I never really played a lot of the other guys. They were just something that I didn't really do.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you do have Chrono Trigger. You might want to pop that one in.
Yeah, speaking of, there's this PSP that's sitting here. We should talk about that, but
That we should.
indeed, I am. I did actually charge my Vita. Sorry, sorry, the Vita. That's what we wanted to talk about. But I did charge my DS to play that because I figured I'd start playing it on my lunches.
There you go. Yeah, man, that's
what?
the best ones you can play.
You're suddenly playing Chrono Trigger after you didn't like it on our episode about it, Jordan?
Well, if you remember correctly, and this actually was a Kevin and my conversation where we were talking about retro games. He's like, "Oh, Chrono Trigger, one of my favorite games of all time," and I was like, "Really? I didn't really like it." And he looked at me. He's like, "You didn't play it on the right platform." I was like, "What?" He's like, "Did you play it on an emulator? Did you play it on on a PC?" And I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "That's what's wrong with it. You need to have it in the right platform. You need to be like, when you pick up a handheld and you can play that game, that's the way you do it." So he was like, "I can fix this." And he goes and he brings out the game on DS. He's like, "Here you go, give it a try." So I've had it for a couple of weeks. I think that's actually equal to months. So I've just charged my DS to try to start giving that a try because Rob, you say it's great. Colin says it's great. Now Kevin says it's great. I will give it a chance. Like, let me play it in a native form, and we'll see where we go from there.
Yeah, I want you to choke on Crow over this, Jordan. Choke.
But I just want more people to enjoy it. It is, and to go into that game, I do want you to look at it from a standpoint of like this game is what almost 30 years old now. Look for a lot of what that game does and see if you can't find similarities in games that are just starting to do that now or that started to do it and it's wow, this is so revolutionary. Games don't do these things. Chrono Trigger did a lot of those things years before other game companies were even thinking about that,
Yeah.
and it's a game so far ahead of its time, and it's just fantastic.
Yeah, I'll give it a fair shake, and I tried to give it a fair shake before, and I feel like I gave it its due before. I just kept saying I don't like old games, like that is a thing. Like on my PC, if I'm playing something on my PC, I want it to be like high res. I want it to be fun, fast. My DS, I have a completely different like mindset about.
So what have you been playing this week, Jordan? Since you hate old games so much.
Oh, Thanks. That was a good.
That's a good segue.
Yeah. Man, people in Silicon Valley who don't want to walk would be proud of that one. Uh, so I've been playing Clive Barker's Undying, one of the newer games of this generation.
Of 2002.
Yeah, that was a good one. Yeah, Clive Barker's Undying. I don't know what did it. Actually, I do know what did it. Someone at my work was reading an H.P. Lovecraft book that didn't have any of the good H.P. Lovecraft in it. It was just like at least not the Lovecraft I like, the stories that I enjoy. So, and I was like, "Oh, do you like horror?" And he's like, "Yeah, I really do, and I like this and this." And I'm like, "Well, you should check out Clive Barker. I actually stole one of my friend's books years ago on accident, and I still have it to this day, called The Books of Blood. You should. Yeah, that's Rob's for those of you playing the home game, and it's sitting right over here. I've got it. I'm looking at it right on my bookshelf. I've had it for years. It's a fantastic anthology, and I've offered to give it back several times. Just so you know, listeners, I have been the good guy. Rob says keep it, so I'm happy. But I like telling the story about it. It's a great book. You should check it out. But I told him if you like that, and you should read that, and if you like that, you should play the video game that Clive Barker made called Undying, because that game was absolutely fantastic. Went back and I'm working my way slowly through it whenever I have random 5 minutes to play. And I still find it to be pretty darn fun. I'm going about it way more intelligently than I was at 11 or 12 or 14 when we were playing it. How old was I in 2002? I would be
15.
Yeah, sweet.
Yeah, we were like 15, I think, when we got it.
Yeah.
Also, keep in mind, Clive Barker didn't actually write this. I believe, if I remember correctly, Austin Grossman wrote this game. Who Ghost wrote it basically? Who wrote System Shock 1 and Dishonored?
Really?
Mm-hmm.
That I didn't know. Why? So then, why is Clive Barker's name on it?
It was a licensing thing, but this was what was the company that made DreamWorks Interactive? Was a bunch of old Looking Glass people that left, and they went off and one group made Trespasser and one group made Clive Barker's Undying, and we know
How that
who the A team was in that deal.
Yeah,
But
the Trespasser team. Like anywhere where I can look down and have you ever heard of Trespasser, Kevin?
Nope.
So, man, we're gonna have to start a drinking game for this, but we talk about Trespasser.
We just need to link. There's an amazing Let's Play about Trespasser. It's super short. It's only like 25 minutes long for the whole game because he kind of curates it a little bit. But this guy goes through. It's the best Let's Play I've ever seen. He goes through the complete history of the game, why the game sucks, and what's cool about it. Because it's one of those games that's like, there's things done in that game, technology, like tricks that still aren't in games, like real time,
Right?
excuse me, real time Foley sound mixing, where different items have sound properties that are mixed together inside the game engine. It had a full physics engine that was a precursor to Havoc in 1998. Like global lighting, all kinds of crazy stuff in it, all procedurally animated, and it's fucking terrible.
Oh, and imagine a game where physics are so important. Like physics are on everything, including the trigger of the gun that you have. So if you throw your gun, it will fire if the physics of the trigger say that it will fire. Now, add into that your arm has sway physics, and you control like your hand and grab things. So you're trying to turn, your wrist is doing this number, like you're doing a pageant wave, but your gun is flying around. You can hit it on trees, and you might drop it, and all of a sudden it spins and hits, and then fires at you.
Okay.
You can shoot yourself in this game by making the arm bend so the gun's pointed at you and pulling the trigger. Or you can shoot yourself by throwing your gun and just being unlucky and having the trigger hit something.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Now, Rob, do you remember how you looked at your health in that game?
I do. Would you like to tell us, Jordan?
Didn't you look down at your boobs and you had a tattoo of a heart that would empty, which is kind of against how tattoos work? Like you don't get less color.
It would fill up with blood.
Oh,
if you were full health, you'd look down and it would be just the outline of a heart, and then it would slowly fill up with blood the more injured you got.
Yeah, interesting. I thought that was interesting. And in Jurassic Park game that was.
Yep. Steven Spielberg handpicked the team for that.
Can that still be found and purchased and played? No.
No. I mean, you can order like a disc online, but it's not available for digital purchase anywhere that I
Gotcha.
know of. I haven't checked GOG in recently for it, but I don't think that it is.
You have a big box copy, don't you?
I do.
Have you tried running it on Windows 10?
No, but it ran fine on Windows 7. There's actually a surprisingly dedicated fan community who kind of keeps the game up to date. You can actually fix a lot of the issues with it with fan patches. So that's pretty cool. It's called, I think that's trespassing.org or something like that, or I don't remember. I should get this correct because it's a really cool trescom.org. If anyone wants to ever play Trespasser, go check out that site.
Trescom.org. Okay. Sweet. Well, that has nothing to do with Clive Barker's Undying, but good.
Except the same writer.
Oh yeah, same writer. That. Oh man, Clive Barker's Undying. I'm just gonna start calling it Undying now. I'm not gonna call it. No, is there another game called Undying? No.
Nope.
Okay, I'm just gonna call it Undying then, because if Clive Barker didn't have actually any claim to it, I'm just gonna call it Undying. But that game is fantastic. I still love that game. It still weirds me out. The writing still seems really good. Animation, I'm having a blast with. Oh God, is it terrible? This is the point where they tried, like, they have polygons, but they can't do fingers, so they're all just one constant, like,
Yeah, the hand.
yeah, or it's like this. Like all the fingers are on one block and the thumb is on another. So
And Jeremiah's hair waving around, just like big chunks that they tried to like paint locks onto.
yep, it was really, really good. You should really check that out. That's a fun little game.
Yeah, it holds up pretty well, surprisingly.
Yeah, I enjoy it. Made me want to go play Tribes because I think we got that and Tribes at the same time when we were kids. I also was playing, of course, more Overwatch. I am really enjoying that game. I play like a match or two a night, depending. I try to end on a high note, but sometimes you just never end on a high note. So I do my best. But it's fun. I enjoy it. It's a good game, and it's animated well. I have like not enough friends to play it on PC because I have a lot
Sorry.
of
Even.
I have a lot of friends on now. So wait, do you have to have a Blizzard account to play it on Xbox?
I'm not entirely sure. I know I have a Blizzard account. I don't know if it just linked that one to my Blizzard account and logged me in, but
Do you have an Xbox One, Rob? I can't remember what you have.
I do, but that thing hasn't been turned on in months.
Well, maybe we should get it for that. And if you don't need to have a Blizzard account there, then we can play that.
No, it's not the Blizzard thing that's stopping me. It's I have a kid and I can't really commit to full multiplayer matches. I need to be able to set my controller down and jump up if at a moment's notice if I need to, because she's still a little baby.
Gotcha. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, she's only what, 3 months? Man,
Yep.
crazy. But let's go ahead and jump on to our next subject, which what was this one called, Rob?
With the Deus Ex series retrospective?
No, the other one.
Oh, are we doing extra points?
Yeah, extra points.
Extra points.
Yeah, the part of the podcast where we talk about non-video game related stuff, like Kevin's comics and Rob's weird camera fetishes. I don't know. Yeah. So what have you been playing, or what have you been doing unplugged there, Kevin?
reading a lot of comics. Always, always comics. I don't think I actually talked to you about it since they started it, but DC recently completely revamped the DC universe. It is no longer the New 52. That is dead and gone. It is now in the middle of its DC rebirth, which it really feels like they're trying to go back to what made DC Comics fun, like what made them really good at its core, which were the relationships and friendships between the characters that had been long established and really gave those characters a depth that the New 52 just didn't have. A lot of comics really fell by the wayside because of it. A lot of characters were completely gone from continuity that just really felt like they should have been there. And then there were characters that were there that really had no purpose.
Gotcha.
Uh, but yeah, with this new DC Rebirth, it's really making me excited for DC Comics again. I was a huge DC Comics fan back, mid 2000s, or 2005 on. But yeah, once they started New 52, I kind of jumped over to reading a lot more Marvel comics, and I was really happy with those for a while. But now with Rebirth going on, it's really, really good. I highly recommend. All of the Rebirth series have been fantastic right from the gate.
Sweet. I'll have to look into that. I do enjoy most of the comics you recommend my way, so I will have to dig into that. How about you, Rob? What have you been doing that's unplugged?
Well, I'm just on that note. I'm glad to hear some good news about DC for once, because
Yeah,
it seems like just the trend over the last couple years, movies and comics, has been kind of going down. So that's
yeah.
good to hear. Um, I just finished season 2 of Penny Dreadful. You guys seen this show?
It comes up on Netflix for me. I've been interested in it. Is it something I should pay attention to?
Yeah. Yeah, I think you'd really like it. It's set in like the Victorian era in London, which is one of my favorite settings for anything. And it kind of mixes mythology from lots of different horror sources. There's some Dracula, there's some Frankenstein, there's some more that I won't spoil that are in it, but lots of names and faces you'll recognize, but kind of remixed in an interesting way.
Okay.
And super well acted. Josh Hartnett is one of the lead characters, and Eva Green's amazing.
Is it
Timothy
a
Dalton.
is it like a thing a week sort of style, or is it a
No,
continually running
it's
story?
Showtime, so it's serialized. I think 10 episodes per season. There's 3 seasons. The show's done, so I'm looking forward to watching season 3.
Where are you streaming this from?
For the first 2 seasons are on Netflix.
Okay, so I have Netflix. I also have Amazon Prime, which is nice.
Yeah, I think you'll like it. I mean, they clearly spent a ton of money on this, and the set design's all really good. I kept joking with my wife that they must have a courtyard budget because like everything's shot in these huge Victorian courtyards,
Hmm.
and big like old timey mansions and stuff. And yeah, the cast is just phenomenal, and the writing's pretty good, and because it's not retellings of all these horror stories, because it's kind of a remix, you don't really know where things are going, so I was constantly surprised. And the series, I would think it was going one direction, and it would do a complete 180 and catch me off guard and go somewhere else that was even better than I was thinking. So I really liked it a lot. Season 2 maybe not quite as strong as season 1, but both definitely good.
Awesome. I'll have to look into it. Have you seen it, or Kevin?
I saw a couple episodes of the first season. I really enjoyed what I saw. It was, if I had to compare it to something, it was kind of like watching a good television version of the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. Like,
Okay,
Yeah, good
I'll
way to
take
put it.
that. I like that show.
It's really good.
As bad as it was, I liked it.
Well, it's a Alan Moore comic too.
Yeah. Yeah. I did enjoy what I watched of it. Um, but yeah, it seemed interesting. I just kind of fell off having to watch it every week, and work full time job was not the best time to watch it. But now that it's on Netflix and over, definitely going to go back to that one.
That's how I watch stuff. I actually get interested in it about 2 or 3 years beforehand, and then I wait until it gets done, and
Yeah.
hopefully I avoid all the spoilers, and then I watch it like in a
Yeah.
binge.
That's the way to do it. And if you're looking for another show like that, Hannibal too.
Oh yeah, I've been holding
That's-
off on that one as well.
Yeah. Before he watches Hannibal, though, he's going to start watching Luther.
Yeah, you told me to
Luther's
look at
pretty
that.
good.
What is that about? Is that like Superman Luther?
No, not quite.
Yeah, coming from you
It's-
can understand why I would think that, right?
Understandable. I'll give you that one. It is I guess you'd call it a procedural cop show. But Idris Elba, great actor, fantastic actor, one of my favorites actually. Plays the main character. It is more, I think I'd probably compare it to more like a Sherlock type show. It's really about how he reads people and makes them do what he wants them to do without actually forcing them to do it. It's just a really really well done show, really well acted. It has a really really good cast behind it. I unfortunately don't know a lot of the actors. It being a mainly it being a BBC show, I don't know a lot of the
Yeah,
talent.
the other lead, I don't know her name, that actress, but she's awesome too.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I know who you're talking about. I'm not gonna spoil anything on it, but yeah, it is fantastic. Like I cannot recommend that show enough. It has been one of my favorite shows to just sit down and binge.
Also on Netflix?
Yes, it is also on Netflix. I believe the first three seasons are on Netflix. It's 4 episodes a season.
Are they long?
Um, I want
Like
to say they're
Sherlock
hour.
style?
I think they're
Okay.
yeah.
They're hour and a half. Not quite Sherlock, but definitely, they're longer than normal, but not 3.5 hours per episode.
Gotcha. Because Sherlock is basically like 6 episodes in one, right? Because if you take a
Yeah,
half an hour episode, you add commercials, that's really only 20 minutes. And then, yeah.
yeah. The Sherlock episodes are the longest episodes I've ever had to sit down and watch.
Those are
Uh,
seasons, though, aren't they? No, they have like three per season.
it's
Yeah,
3 episodes
miniseries.
per season. Yeah.
Yeah. I like that stuff. I wish more American shows would do that, right? Like where you could have these very long setups and have seasons like that. With Game of Thrones going down to what? They're going down to 8 seasons this episode series? I know.
Yeah, extra long 8 episodes, I think. That's what they said.
Oh, is that what they're doing? They're doing longer but 8 episodes and then okay, I thought they were just going to be cutting down the amount of episodes they're doing. I didn't realize they would be actually adding more time to the episodes that they were running.
Now, is that for both of the new upcoming seasons, or is that just the last one?
No, the upcoming one they're cutting, and then the next one they're cutting even more. It's going to be like 6 episodes,
Okay.
at least according to what I've read on that. So interesting that they're doing that. If every episode's 2 hours, I'm happy with that because then I net out more. But
What?
actually, I think I net out at 6. I net out one episode short. But no,
Well,
because
that tells me they've got one season of stuff left, and they're just stretching it out to two.
that yeah, basically. Well, I mean, Martin's never going to finish the series. I mean, if he eats food half as well as he describes food, he is going to die before finishing that series. So we can only take what they have. Now, what I worry about is that maybe he did have this stuff in, and then HBO is going to write stuff, and he's going to take that as like I have to write that in, which that's disappointing if that's going to happen. But that's not my extra point. My extra point is actually Jessica Jones because I hadn't finished that yet, and in fact, I hi Kevin,
Hi, Jordan.
I called Kevin 9 o'clock, 9:30 on a Saturday night. And I was like, I'm bored. What, you want to hang out? And Kevin says, sure, come on over. Because Kevin and I have this thing where I send him a message that says yes or see or whatever. And Kevin either says yes or no. And then I show up at his house. And did it this time, called him. And I'm like, well, I have a few things to do real quick and then I'll head out. I had all my stuff in my hands. And I had literally told my Alexa, I was getting ready to tell my Alexa to turn everything off. And something caught my eye. And I looked and I forgot I had Jessica Jones playing in the background. I proceeded to finish that episode, let it continue to the next one while standing behind my couch holding all my stuff for like an hour and a half. Like 2 episodes I stood there like like watching. It's like, oh my God, because it got near the end and I was watching the conclusion. I was like, oh my God. Then eventually Kevin calls me on the phone. He's like, hey, you coming over? I'm like, yeah, no, wait, I got distracted, but I'm still on my way. He's like, no, I'm heading to my girl's place. But yeah, I'll talk to you later. And I look down. It's like I'm like, oh shit, man! I got completely wrapped up in that show. The beginning of it was really really slow, but when it started picking up near the end, there I was there was one point where I meant to watch one episode. I watched 3, like it was such a good pickup at the end there. I can't wait to see where that goes. And having David Tennant, one of my, being a Doctor Who fan, he's one of my favorite actors. Having him play Kilgrave, the main antagonist in that show, and show a different side of him because you get the hero aspect in the Doctor, you get some sort of the tortured aspect, but the way he portrays this character, I really really enjoyed how he did that, and the end was very like I like how they summed that up. I like how they finished and wrapped it up. It could be its own thing, and they could also continue it on into another season, much like Stranger Things. I think Stranger Things. We'll talk more about that next week because only one show per thing. But yeah, if you like comics, you like the Marvel series. Check out Jessica Jones. It's a little more gritty. I'm just now, because of Kevin here, getting back into the whole comic system and reading a lot of these, and I'm liking what I'm seeing where they're not very four color anymore. They're getting back to like how like original comics, where I watched a thing on the history of comics to learn about it, and it turns out the sort of comics I don't like, four color, are actually like a result of comics being too gritty and people getting up in arms about it in like the 40s or something like that, and then they had to create the comics, like basically the ESRB for comics.
The code, yeah.
Yeah, and that's where you got the four color, and that's slowly going away. To which I can be like, yes, these are more real, they're more gritty. That stuff I like. So I'm thank you, Kevin, for getting me turned on to that kind of stuff. And yeah, Daredevil, Jessica Jones. I'm assuming Luke Cage, that's going to be on Netflix here soon, is going to be very similar. These are all fantastic shows that I think if you like.
Then you'll get the Defenders.
I think that one comes after Iron Fist.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah, so all these characters are just getting these shows. It's fantastic. I'm happy to see that. But let's go ahead and get down to why we're actually here, gentlemen, and that is that we are divided. Mankind is divided. It's about Deus Ex Mankind Divided.
I don't think so.
No, that's been pretty good, actually. The reviews that have been coming out have been pretty promising. Man, I love Deus Ex. I think I got the game as a pack-in for something, in like a sound card or a graphics card.
I think I did too. I think it came with my graphics card. Now that you mentioned that, I'd totally forgotten that.
Yeah, because I know I didn't buy it. Are
we talking Deus Ex or Human Revolution?
Deus Ex, the original.
The old school, yeah.
Okay.
They've been doing that. They've been doing pack-in games for a long time with those things.
Yeah, like MDK2, I got that. Like when I bought my Voodoo 3, I think it came with my Voodoo 3 card back when I was like really young. I got MDK2, Deus Ex, I got Giant Citizens Kabuto or something like that. I got like a whole bunch of games with it, and a lot of them were really good. MDK2 was a pretty good game for its time. I actually went and bought that on GOG not too long ago, and I mean to play through that again. But Deus Ex was one that as a kid, I didn't know how to play Deus Ex, but I could appreciate what was there. Like the mechanics they had, the fact that my shin could be damaged, my thigh could be damaged, my forearm, my shoulder, my chest, my inner torso, my upper torso, my head. Like, you had a lot going on in that game that you'd never seen anywhere before. It was amazing, the kind of
haven't
things.
since, really.
Right? Why is that? Why can't they give me that game but up to date? Like,
I don't know, man. It's a question we've been asking for years.
You could have your legs blown off in that game. And
yeah, I loved Human Revolution, but can you imagine if Human Revolution had the depth of the first game with all that stuff you just talked about, the multiple systems on top of each other? So you have the AUGs, which, by the way, you're forced to choose one or the other. There's none of this full character build nonsense.
Nope. You had to build your path.
Yeah, for each augmentation you got, you preclude yourself from one. From a different path, and then on top of that you have all the skills like hacking and electronics and
melee, shooting, heavy weaponry, stuff like that.
Yep. So it's hard to
It's not high enough. Tough.
Yeah. Well, and that's such a big part of that game, and that game truly felt, when I played it later on in life, you could play that game like you wanted. If you wanted to sneak around and be stealthy, there was a means for that. If you wanted to be combative, there was a means for that. It was a lot harder. Like, that game feels like it was meant to be a stealth game a lot of the time, just the way they do their inventory management with weaponry and bullets and stuff.
I don't know, man. What the first few missions do, but once you get some of the stuff, especially once you get to Hong Kong and get the Dragon's Tooth sword.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
You have the healing AUG by then, you're a god. Like, Dragon's Tooth, healing AUG, even on the hardest difficulty, like, no one can fuck with you.
It was so good. And then the double cross, like the whole idea, it was such a good game. And then they made Invisible War, which this is where Kevin joins our story. Was it Alex in that one? No, I keep thinking Alex Mercer. That's
Yeah, it is Alex. It's Alex Denton.
oh
Yeah.
oh okay, so related to JC Denton. Yeah, correct.
I believe so. That one, it's been a long time
Clone.
since I played that one, and
Clone. Okay.
can't even remember finishing the whole thing.
Yeah, I remember playing that and L.A. Shoot, True Crime: Streets of L.A. I played those two games at the same time back in the day, which
I've been replaying Invisible War and the first Deus Ex. I was hoping to get through Human Revolution before Mankind Divided came out too, but I didn't. Um, I've been surprised how much I'm liking it. It is clearly a broken ass game. I mean, like the level loading areas are the size of this room here, and then you have to go to a loading screen. There's all kinds of weird stuff it does, like it drops out to desktop to load the next level and then goes back into the game. The animation's clunky. There's lots of weird design decisions, like universal ammo. So your flamethrower takes the same ammo as your pistol.
awesome.
Uh, just just weird stuff, but the way the factions work in that game is actually pretty cool because you constantly have people who are working against each other trying to manipulate you, and you have to choose a side, and you can fuck over one person in one hub and then switch teams in the next hub, and it gives you a ton of freedom for how you approach those missions, and the missions are different depending on who you're helping. So you'll get conflicting goals, and you can only choose one of them. So it's also really replayable. But it, is it worthy of the Deus Ex name? Probably not. But if you're looking for like a fun stealth action game, I think it's kind of cool.
Is
Can
it?
we agree that it was better than Deus Ex: The Fall?
Yes,
Which one
the
was
fail,
the fall?
as it has become known.
The Fall was the I can't remember if it was a PC or mobile only edition.
It was mobile and then ported poorly
Right.
to the PC.
It was a subpar game that was poorly ported to PC to be even more subpar. It was bad. Um, yeah, I couldn't even get through the second or third mission before I was just done with it. It is now sitting in my Steam library where it will stay uninstalled from my hard drive.
You've been playing Deus Ex Go, right?
I just bought it. I got through the first 6 missions of that one.
Does it cost? Cost money?
It's $3 or $4.
Okay.
All of the Go games are fantastic. If you haven't checked out any of those games, pick up a Humble Bundle. They're usually in there. Hitman Go's really good. Lara Croft Go, also fantastic. And then Deus Ex Go, that one just came out. It's really, really good. I've been enjoying it. My only problems with those games is I'm a completionist when it comes to them. You have 3, what you call it, objectives to get in every level. I 3-star every level before I move on to the next one. That is just how I play them, and it stops me from getting through the entire game a lot of the time. So I still haven't beaten either Hitman or Lara Croft, uh, but I have 3-starred every level I've done to this point. So
Gotcha.
they're very, very challenging, but very fun.
Awesome. Sorry, just that little vein there. I didn't know if you had actually played that one. I know you talked about it for a second, like you wanted to, but I didn't know if you'd gotten it. Yeah, I remember playing Invisible War and thinking this is okay, but it doesn't feel like a Deus Ex game.
Yeah, it's like it felt like it could have been better. Like
Yeah.
it was supposed to be.
When people complain about consoleization now, I'm just like, you have no idea. You weren't there for Invisible War, man.
You weren't
That's when
there.
it was bad.
Now, are you playing that on PC?
I'm playing it on PC, yeah, because that's the thing. It was Ion Storm decided they wanted to make a successful Xbox game, which they did. Thief 3 Deadly Shadows, not Invisible War.
I thought Invisible War was on PS2.
No, the first Deus Ex was ported to PS2.
Maybe that's what I'm remembering.
Yeah, it was on the Xbox, and apparently for an Xbox game, it was pretty good. But the PC version was a pile of shit.
Gotcha. We don't know how to code this thing. Yeah, so from Invisible War, we go on to, I guess, The Fall. Was that what came up next? No, I don't know.
Human Revolution.
Yeah, which that one I remember. I remember the release on. I played that on PS3, and I didn't really care for that game. Maybe it's because I got a call about fraudulent purchases on my credit card at that same night. Maybe that ruined my view of the game.
Yeah, made you a little salty.
Yeah, I just remember being really excited for that game to come out and not really enjoying it. We weren't doing the podcast by that point, right? That was a little bit before the podcast.
Yeah, it's 2011, so it was about 6 months before we started.
Gotcha. Yeah, that was an interesting one. I played, I think, I don't know, how long is that game?
Long.
Oh,
It took me 25, 30 hours.
I think it took me just around that time. I think 20 hours. No, it took me longer, definitely. But I did a no kill, hard mode, no, like, all the way stealth playthrough.
Gotcha.
I'm a glutton for punishment when it comes to those games.
Did you ghost Dishonored?
Yes. I ghosted Dishonored, no hard mode, no powers other than blink.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty impressive.
Damn,
I
dude.
do have the ghost achievement, but I used powers to get it.
The only one that I had problems with was trying to get that. I guess at the very end, there's this person about to boil somebody else, and you need to get a key from her. That was a nightmare.
How did you do that?
Through cheesing systems.
That's fair in immersive sims, man. That's all fair.
Ludonarrative dissonance.
Yeah, I don't know how you were supposed to do it. I knew Blink was my best friend and lock picking a door beforehand, but yeah, I there was no reason I should have been able to get out of that area without doing that fight. But I was getting my achievement. No two ways about that.
That's awesome. I am not that good at Dishonored when it comes to the sneaking. Plus, that game is so cool to kill people in. Like,
I know.
blink, stab, blink away. Where the other guy's like, "What the hell just happened?"
Yeah, I mean it's definitely more fun, but you know what? That just makes it so that when I go through it a second time, I basically have a new game to play.
Gotcha.
Like, I went through and I did this game. I know how to get past this. I could kill everyone here and nobody'd ever see me coming. Why? Because I know their patterns now.
You know what else is kind of a bitch to ghost is the Antarctic level in Human Revolution,
Oh yeah.
where you got the swarming enemies.
Yeah, no, the only area like that area was really tough, but the one that really gave me the most trouble was it's basically where you have to make the choice to stay and save your pilot or to
Oh yeah,
yeah. Yeah, good luck getting through that one with a non-lethal playthrough cuz it's not fun.
I did it though.
So did I.
It took me 10 tries, but I
Yeah,
did it.
that's just like, how long that one take you? Cuz that one was not fun.
Hey, Rob, can you imagine me trying to do a run like those?
No, I can't even imagine you trying.
Attempting? Yeah. Rob likes to make the joke that I play those games wrong.
Jordan plays Thief as an action game, not even action stealth.
I have a buddy who plays Metal Gear like that, and it's unfortunate, but you know what? The last Metal Gear game gave him that freedom, and it made him enjoy the game. Trying to get him to enjoy Metal Gear was always a chore, and that one was like, okay, well, I can, just muscle my way through this, but getting in without being seen, getting your objective and leaving and no one knowing you're there, oh man, it's the best feeling in those games. Like no one even knew that you were behind 8 different guys. They had no idea that you could have killed them at any moment. Disappeared.
Yeah. I can see that being enjoyable, but I like making them disappear. Like when I'm Geralt, I want to arrow everyone. I want them to die, and I want to hide their bodies. It's a different type of game for me. Like I still play it.
Corvo?
No, Thief.
Garrett, not Geralt.
Oh,
Yeah, I
sorry,
was like,
Garrett. My bad.
I was
Yes.
like, you just roll into town in The Witcher 3 and start shooting people?
Yeah. My bad. Cross.
who's the real monster there?
Yeah, Geralt. Literally, he's a monster. But no, sorry. As what's
Garrett.
it? Garrett. Yes. Dang, so many G's. Yeah. When I play as Garrett, like I try to kill people and then hide them. Like I try to, like I still play it stealthily. When I played Metal Gear Solid, I didn't just run and gun people with an SMG. I run and gunned people with a silenced rubber bullet shooting SMG that I would then like silently take out the entire group.
Oh yeah.
Like
Yeah, the non-lethal weapons were definitely plentiful in that game, but I preferred my stealth CQC.
Also, I'd do that too. Like, it just depended on what I wanted to do. Like, if I was moving around, like, I would take out everybody as stealthy as I could because you got a bonus for it, as long as no one saw you. Once I got that
Yeah.
SMG, though, I didn't really need that stuff.
Yes, the silent approach was not necessary after that, but yeah, I mean, at least you were doing non-lethal. That game really rewards you for it because everybody's an asset. Like some maybe
I
not
picked
as
up
much as others.
everybody, every
Yeah, oh
single
yeah.
person. I
It's
ballooned
like
out of
Pokemon,
there.
but with people.
Yeah,
So just slavery.
we put you in small balls on a carrier, and then when we need you, we let you out.
I mean, I just strapped a balloon to their ass and you know made them fly up into the sky where something may or may not have picked them up. I don't know.
What was that system called? The what?
Fulton recovery system.
Bolton recovery system. Oh, Ryan DeBrawl is sending me messages saying that Gawker just got sued out of existence. That's interesting.
Where have you been, Jordan?
I don't pay attention.
Clearly not the internet.
Yeah, no, dude. I basically have 3 jobs. No, I'm kidding. I have 2 jobs. But it's I don't have time to really read much. And when I am reading, I'm reading about superheroes and Street Fighter. So,
So, can you articulate at all why you didn't like Human Revolution? Because it just blows my mind. It just I can't imagine anyone not liking it.
Especially since you said you enjoyed Dishonored so much, because I played Human Revolution right before I played Dishonored. Like I got them literally within a week of each other.
oh, I can tell you exactly why I hated it.
Please continue.
I played it on PS3.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Bad port.
I don't do first-person shooters on console.
Console. Fair enough.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
didn't-
it's not a bad port. It just
Yeah, I just didn't like it. Like, I didn't like how it works. I'm not good enough with those. I'm assuming that was probably the case. I own it here. I own the director's cut here, and I actually installed it. I installed all Deus Ex that I had in anticipation of playing those for the new one. Never did, but I installed them. Like I showed intent, right? That's what matters. So yeah, I mean, I have all of them. I can play them all. It's just I haven't had time, but I didn't really like I remember not really being able to get into the story, but I think I was still just struggling with the controls as much as anything else. So I'll have to actually give it a go. Is Mankind Divided a direct sequel?
Yes.
That's
It
unfortunate.
is it's basically the direct fallout of your actions in Human Revolution.
So I wonder how many of your actions actually matter. So I might if I might be able to just watch or listen to a story.
it has a recap in the game, from what I understand.
Yeah, I mean, like it's not like Mass Effect or any of those games where you actually carry like a save data over. Everything is based on like, okay, well, these choices were made. Maybe they're not the choices you made, but somebody made them, and here we go.
Yeah. And they're doing the same thing Invisible War did, which is that all the endings of the previous game are true simultaneously,
Yeah.
which is interesting.
How
And they
does
also
that
said
work?
mental gymnastics.
Shenanigans.
Yeah, shenanigans.
Just-
They did say that they are tracking your save for this game, so that if there is a Deus Ex 5,
That'd be
your
fantastic.
save will carry over. So that's pretty cool.
Nice.
But I want them to switch it up again. I always thought it was cool that each new Deus Ex game was like a new main character, new story. I like Adam Jensen, and I really like his voice actor, Elias Tufexis, whose name is just fun to say.
Oh,
Elias Tufexis. So I'm glad to see more of that story, but it's just kind of, I don't know. I hope for the next one we get something a little different time period, or even if it's him
Yeah,
again.
I want
Fast forward 15 years.
I want my cyberpunk and Renaissance times. That's when I want my like in there.
Steampunk.
See, I think it'll be a while before the next Deus Ex, especially with was it CD
Cyber,
Projekt Red
yeah,
doing
Cyberpunk 2077 or whatever.
um, I I don't know if that's going to be along the same vein. Nobody knows anything about it other than I want to throw money at it and make it happen.
Me too. I am completely 100% with you. Like, oh
I
god,
CD Projekt Red has earned that in my right. Like in my opinion, they have shown me nothing but quality products again and again. And you know what? If you need my money to make it happen, just here, take it. Um,
I will give you 60. I'm with you. CD Projekt Red does such a good job, and they support
Well,
their
see,
stuff very very well.
and that's like with them, like a lot of other games, I have problems shelling out. Like, okay, you've given me, a 10-15 hour game, and then it's another $40 for DLC that comes out, whatever else it might contain. With CD Projekt Red, I played The Witcher 3 to completion, 160 hours just on, like, I did everything in one playthrough of that game. Still, could do a new game plus on it. Two different DLC packs, which, I mean, each of them alone at, I think they were $15 a pop or $20 with the like digital or the like collector's edition they had.
Yeah.
Each one of those was 15 and 25 hours a piece. Like some games I don't even get that much playtime out of in a $60 purchase. Like
Right?
they when they have a product and they have, like, hey, this is some extra stuff we're doing, it is DLC, you don't have to pick it up. They've proven to me that they don't feel DLC is core game concepts that you are going to pay extra for. It's more gameplay that they literally could not fit onto the, first experience. Like it wasn't done and needed more time to complete and was just in addition to the full game you already played.
Oh yeah, and that's the way it should be.
Yes.
Like old school mentality.
And if we want to jump over to Mankind Divided now and our expectations, season pass not looking too hot.
Yeah.
$30, and it comes with like two story missions, which we don't know how big those are or what they are, and then a bunch of like cheat crap. It gives you a bunch of extra stuff to help win the game.
Is this the
I don't
game
know.
that has like the $150 collector's edition that doesn't come with the game?
No, that's Battlefield.
Oh yes, that's right. Battlefield 1 has that.
Yes. I
Go
That's
marketing.
ludicrous. But if you pull up the DLC page for this in Steam, I'm gonna pull it up really quick. Okay. So they don't have. Oh, well, let's see here. They don't have it all listed, broken out yet. But I saw a breakdown of all the DLC you can buy, and there's hundreds of dollars worth. And then, like I said, yeah, the season pass. Very little announced about what you actually get as far as story content. It could be two little Tracer Tongs style missions, or it could be two missing link, like big long expansion packs. We don't even know.
I
And
highly doubt it's going to be. Just from personal experience, it being in that same boat. Um, it's one of the problems I have with gaming as a whole right now is we have these the season pass has become just it is the thing to do with games now. You come out with a game, you come out with a season pass. What's included in that varies so vastly from game to game that some of it, yeah, it could be actual like meat and potatoes content, but I mean, one of the companies that I also was completely backed behind, Rocksteady, Batman
that's
Arkham Knight.
exactly what I was just thinking. I
I
bought that. This is the only season pass I ever bought. I was like, it's Rocksteady. It'll be fine.
exactly, and I
Garbage.
never before had I felt so betrayed by a gaming company that was just like, you kidding me? This is what I paid an extra $40 for? Great. Yeah, I'd love to, dress up in the Batman Beyond costume. I could have paid $3 for that and not paid, an extra $40 for the 10-minute story packs that I got. Like it was ridiculous.
Yeah. I actually got my graphics card came with a free copy of that game.
No,
Um,
you paid an extra $60 on your graphics card for that game.
I'll take that. When I purchased my graphics card, it had a code with that included with it. How's that? Is that a little better way to put that? Um,
Yes. It's
but
the PC copy of that game.
was
Anyone that had that game.
garbage. Yeah. So I actually managed to leverage not out of Nvidia, but out of Amazon. I was like, hey, this code is garbage. Like, I bought this. This is a promotion that you were running. Since this is they've updated to a game that I want that is much better. How about we just cancel this code here? You can have it back. I'll just, like, I don't know, forget it. And you go ahead and give me this other code. And they were like, well, we can't do that. And I was like, well, that sucks. Like, but what we can do is, that sounds like you were not given what you were expected. So we can give you a third of the cost of the card back. So I ended up getting more money out of it than I did for the code. So I was like, yeah, there we go. Thanks, Amazon. Sweet.
I just want to point out that they paid you to
I don't
keep.
think anybody on the podcast did. We got that for the podcast, I remember, and everyone.
No,
just
I beat that game. I
ya?
enjoyed it front to back. Yeah, but I didn't really have any serious bugs. I shouldn't say enjoyed it front to back. I remember not liking the boss battles and a couple other things about it, but I had a pretty good time with it. I knew going into it was a lesser entry in the series,
Yeah.
so I guess my expectations weren't super high,
they were tempered.
but I had fun with it.
I will say that the one thing it had over the Arkham Knight games, whereas Arkham Origins had you do a boss battle with Deathstroke, which I actually had some fun with. You fought Deathstroke again in Arkham Knight, and it was a game of peekaboo in your tank. The martial arts combat master fought you in a tank, and that was the pretty much only thing I took offense to in Arkham Knight was just who thought this was a good idea. Like this was just terrible all around. But it is what it is.
Indeed. We're all looking forward to Mankind Divided. Do you guys want to throw out some predictions here before we wrap this up?
I don't know about predictions. I guess I'm mostly just expecting more human revolution,
Okay,
which is fine.
How about closing comments? Does that sound better?
Yeah.
All right, let's get some closing comments. Rob.
Yeah, I'm expecting more human revolution, which is fine. I wish that IDOS would, first of all, take a lesson from the Dishonored guys and focus more on the big simulation settings and the wide open levels that the old Deus Ex had. I think Arcane is kind of stealing their thunder on that stuff, where the Deus Ex series should be a leader there. And I wish that they would kind of expand the systems a little more. It seems like they're just kind of sticking with the same augmentation system, but it's never going to live up completely to the legacy of the first game. But
How does
for
that
what
work?
it is, I really liked Human Revolution. So if it's just more of that, I'm going to get my money's worth for sure.
How can we have a basis that is so much deeper, and then they're striving to reach that but never have in 5 games now, or 4 games?
I offer you Spider-Man 2.
Yeah, that's a good
That
point.
at least was a sequel, not the original. Like they're doing the whole like drug runner thing of like chasing the white pony. They got really high on that first one, and now they can't quite get back to it. You know what I'm saying?
Well, and it's different team too. None of these guys worked on the old Deus Ex game. They don't share the design philosophies that Ion Storm and Looking Glass had. If someone ever gave Deus Ex back to Warren Spector and Harvey Smith, then we'd see something like that. But those guys have their own studios now, so that's not going to happen.
Gotcha. How about you, Kevin? What are your closing thoughts?
I mean, I'm super stoked to play the game. If it is just more of Human Revolution, yeah, I'm gonna be fine with it. It feels like they're just taking what they did right with Human Revolution and just trying to build on that. Which, yeah, it's unfortunate because I would have liked to see them definitely get more into like the open world aspect that I've been liking to see in a lot of games here. But if they're just taking the safe route and it's working, like I'm gonna have fun playing the game either way. It'll be interesting to compare this one to Dishonored 2 when that one comes out. because I did feel that Human Revolution and Dishonored shared a lot of similarities. But yeah, should be good.
Awesome. Well, I also am hoping for a good game. I will give it its fair shake. I already have it ready to go. I just need to preload it, which I don't know if they're allowing me to do. But I'm looking forward to it as well. I'm going to actually go to work a little bit early so that at midnight I can be here to hit play and get going on that, put a few hours in before I even go to bed. So we will give you guys more of an update next week. I'm not sure if we'll have Kevin on. Maybe we can try to wrangle him in again, but we'll see what we can do. And we'll get you more of a review, kind of first look at it next week. Until then, if you do want to get a hold of us, you can find us at gameoutloudpodcast.com. You can also reach us at gameoutloudpodcast@gmail.com and find us on Twitter at gameoutloudcast. Kevin, do you have any Twitter contact information you want to put out or anything? Nope.
Not at the moment.
You can find Kevin at kevinkevin.kevin. And thank you for coming on, Kevin.
Not a problem. Thanks for having me.
Rob, always a pleasure to have you on.
Absolutely.
And listeners, thank you, of course. And viewers, if you're watching this real time, thank you very much for tuning in. And leave us a review in the comments below. And if you're on iTunes, go ahead and give us a review there too, so people find us easier. It's kind of a nice thing. But thank you for everybody that tuned in. And we look forward to seeing you next week with our furthering the comments on Deus Ex Mankind Divided. So make sure to tune in, and we will see you next week.